jms3music.
Hello and welcome to the first video for jms3music. What I wanted to do with this video is kind of just quickly show some of the tools that I use to make the music that's heard on jms3music.com and also on my Facebook and SoundCloud pages. At the core of what I use is print music. This is one of the several programs in the Finale suite. Finale itself is one of the best in the world. It also costs about $600, a little out of my price range. But print music, which is what I use, is very affordable at $100, but it's also incredibly powerful for the price. And the reason that I use it is, one, price, of course, but two, because of my very lengthy music background going back to when I was 5 years old, I am very notation driven. I do not like working in a piano roll. I find that very confusing, especially when there are multiple notes to be played at once. So print music and the Finale products in general are perfect for someone like me who has a mind for notation. And where print music really helps in that respect is not just being able to see what an individual instrument needs to play, but to be able to see everything at once. So for example, if I, and there, now I can see everything in the entire score for all the instruments at once. What's also very useful with print music for me is that there are layers, which can be very important. So for example, here in the trumpet line, I have one layer in black and the second layer in red. And this helps me to minimize my use of staffs within print music, since that is one of the limitations of print music compared to the full Finale. So you're limited in the number of staffs that you can use at once. So this helps me to keep everything together. Very good example of this is right here, where on the flute line and also in the violin line further down, I actually have 3 layers going at once in this particular piece: black, red, and green, and then the alto sax and the trumpets, 2 layers at once. Obviously it gets to be very chaotic. For someone like me who is not a professional composer, try to notate all of this on separate lines per instrument would get a little unwieldy without the layers. And another thing I like about this as well is I can display everything in concert pitch. Again, very useful since I am not a professional. I have no official composition background. Trying to transpose all of this would be very difficult at best to get it right if I did not have the ability to work in concert pitch. The other reason that I love print music so much is, let's switch to another piece here, Beldandi. This is the first piece of the Goddess project. Again, note all of the staffs that I have going here. But the other reason that I like print music so much is because I can play with VSTs, virtual instruments and virtual effects. And specifically, in this particular piece, I use almost exclusively sound fonts, which are driven through the SFC Plus VST plugin. And here you can see the 10 sound fonts that I have in this piece. And that is really the true beauty, in my opinion, of print music, is the fact that I am not limited to the actual sound set that comes with the software, which is okay. But by being able to utilize VST plugins for both instruments and effects, that opens up a vast variety of instruments that I can utilize. including sound fonts through that particular SFZ Plus plugin. As I mentioned, I tend to use a number of sound fonts, and without question, the best place I've found for sound fonts are soundsforbeats.com. A guy named Genesis who creates a number of different instruments through sound fonts. He also has some drum kits as well. But for what I do is primarily the sound fonts that I'm interested in. www.soundsforbeats.com for his website, and as you can see here, there are a number of different instruments that he makes sound fonts for, and I can vouch for the quality of the instruments. In fact, he's got over 300 sound fonts he's made so far. He's working his way up to 400 but I'm not quite there yet, but I do have about 130 of them, and as long as he keeps continuing to make them, I will continue to keep buying them. They're simply that good. And as you can see, just in the brass section alone, there are a number of sound fonts here that he has. The other core set of instruments that I use as well is Garriton Personal Orchestra 4 from Garriton. GARRITAN.com is the website. And GPO4 has one great advantage compared to a number of the other orchestra dedicated sound sets that are out there. Well, two really. Number one, it does have a standalone player, but there's also a VST interface, so I can use it directly within print music. So that print music is driving the instruments. And secondly, for its price, it is extremely powerful and expressive. Many other of the orchestra instrument sets that I've seen start at $500. I've seen them go well over $1,000 in price. Those are truly going to be oriented towards the true professionals, perhaps those that are composing for Hollywood. That's not me. I would love to have those, just to say I have them, but GPO4 is definitely more than enough for what I need at this point. I haven't even come close to using everything that's in it, but what there is incredibly powerful, very expressive. More and more, I am also making use of Magix Music Maker, magix.com, for their website, and I have the premium version, which is primarily because it also allows me to use virtual instruments when I need to. And the main reason that I use it, demonstrate here with this, is it's a multi-track editor. And not just that, but it allows me to very easily use music loops, such as this bass drum loop here, or this hi-hat loop here. I also have Bollywood vocal loops here that I've chopped up and rearranged in various ways. And it allows me to do that very easily. Although, to be honest, the real reason that I chose Music Maker initially is because a friend in Germany suggested it, and also suggested that we might be able to collaborate on something, my music with her vocals. Better hers than mine, since I sing like a frog on the best of days. So this way, we can both work with a compatible editor. And it'll be probably a bit easier for us to collaborate when that time does come. This I also find to be simpler than other similar editors that I've seen out there. For example, FL Studio. I downloaded the demo of that. I could not make heads or tails of it. I tried several others as well. I had issues with trying to understand them also. With Music Maker, the learning curve was a lot less steep. There's also an easy mode, which I started with initially and then switched over to the, I guess you'd call it the advanced mode, and I find it much easier to work with. I also, because of a limitation in print music, where you can only apply an effect to the entire score, not an individual track, I also sometimes, more and more often now, once I get done with something in print music, I will export each of the instrument tracks and then import them all individually into print music, where here I can apply effects to a specific track. And that helps a lot in adding more depth and more emotion to the pieces that I create within print music. Sometimes I can get away with one effect across the entire score in print music. Sometimes that works fine, but I'm finding more and more that I really need to export everything into Music Maker, handle each of the effects on a track-by-track basis. So it works for that as well. And then this here also shows, going back to the music loops, another element that I'm starting to work with more and more over the past month or so is music loops. Primarily for percussion, since I have no percussion background, and I find it very difficult to create compelling percussion within print music. It's also not exactly intuitive in print music either. Plus, this allows me to add vocals, as I've done with these vocal elements here. I also have what's called Vocaloid technology, Vocaloid Miriam, one of the version 1 Vocaloid instruments that were out there. And that is basically turns the human voice into a virtual instrument. I can actually make Miriam sing, as I've done in one piece already, plus the tag at the beginning and the end of this video. And so in order to add her vocals into whatever music, I again need to export from the Vocaloid editor into Music Maker, along with the exported music from print music, and mix it all together here. So that's a bit of a tour of the tools that I use for my music making. I do hope you come take a look at the website, jms3music.com. A little bit about me, my music history. Of course, there's also the music as well. Much of it's here. Some of it's on my SoundCloud site, soundcloud.com/jms3music. A couple of freebies and also some useful links, including links to the tools that I mentioned previously. So I do hope you come take a visit and come back soon. Hopefully there'll be another video soon.
jms3music.